and brunettes can be friends if they try really hard and they have a lot in common.
I thought it was like a really interesting play on sort of classic Western themes. Obviously, it opens with someone that you appear to be a real life cowboy who's actually just an actor for children's parties, playing the part. And I thought that this sort of self awareness towards the entire concept really carried the piece and made it interesting and funny in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect. I thought the puppet aesthetic as well created a sort of absurdist approach to what was going on, which allowed for this sort of like in between fantasy, sort of dreamscape-ish kind of approach to the entire concept and the characters on screen, which sort of helps the later stage dramatic plot points make more sense in context, given sort of the stylistic approach of the overall piece. So I thought it was well acted. In particular, I thought the lead character's dynamic with Annie, I believe, was quite strong, and Annie was a great character, very seductive, very good with silence, and sort of really captured. I thought some of the bigger overall themes of the piece, and ended up creating a memorable closing sequence that I thought matched a modern approach while having a nod to classic sort of Western flair. So I enjoyed the piece. Thought it was well done and designed, and that's pretty much why I felt like it ended up resonating with me, even if the plot and the main action sequences were not what you would necessarily expect for this type of concept.
The opening image is really startling, really fun, in a really cryptic, dark way. I love the use of puppets as avatars for the leads. I feel like the puppets had characters of themselves, and to reintroduce or to introduce different puppets throughout, I thought was a really great way of continuing sort of the theme of like othering oneself. They did a really great job also of just the puppet work. I think that the second lead, the woman, was an excellent job. She was so watchable and a really fun character. And I also love how the world is built up that you really don't know what's going to happen next. I thought that the whole entire short was going to center at the birthday party, especially because of how they built out that the young girl character and her relationship with her parents. And then it ends up being this story about these two individuals and their literal and emotional journeys throughout the day, which I thought was really unexpected and really fun. I also love like the actual use or like the motifs of actual like being a cowboy. The return, the plant, and the payoff of the bike, I thought was really fun and really great. I love the standoff because of that. And I think all moving away from the narrative and onto the visuals, I think that the black and white was a really smart choice for these creators because they did such an excellent job of painting with light and painting with shadow. It was so dynamic to watch in the absence of color. It actually made even these moments pop even more. I mean, and just the costuming with the cowboy hats, like all of these things that are we know to be quintessential parts of being a part of a Western. They did a really great job of capturing in a really modern way. I mean, in the first 10 minutes or the first 15 seconds, it's difficult to even place it in time. I wasn't sure if it was a period or not. So to see that it was modern, but it was still taking from these like classic cowboy imagery, I thought was really smart and a really great move on behalf of the creators.
I really loved the opening. I thought it was a really strong opening where you weren't sure, what was about to happen. And it looked like this guy was getting ready to go out and, have a battle with another cowboy. And the whole thing with the puppet in the noose, just kind of setting you up for certain things. And then you see the landscape shot with him going by on his bike. I thought that was really cool. I really liked the feeling of the two puppeteers develop, going on in their day together. There was something really cool, I think nostalgic, I don't know, about them talking and kind of walking together. And then the scene with him and his bike, trying to get the guy to give him his bike. I don't know, just all of that felt really good. I liked the feel of it. I liked the music in this a lot. And I really liked the theme of him struggling with his fear of water because of what he'd been through, and then overcoming that fear. He was like a cowboy in his own life, I guess, in a way, if that even is the right way to put what I was feeling. I felt like he got through something really hard within this day with this girl and this quirky character that was her boss. That was interesting. And it's just kind of like a sneak peek into this little moment, this quirky moment that he had that was actually very powerful in his life because he overcame such a fear that he had. I really liked the acting. I thought the acting was really good. There were a lot of strong elements. I love the forging of the bond with the girl and the guy. They were just so vulnerable together.
This feels super confident. Just kind of starting from this quiet introductory place of just, seeing this cowboy getting ready to go, and then, the reveal that his horse is a bike and that he's a children's party cowboy and everything was really working for me. And then I love that we're kind of just delving into this weird little subculture of people who like represent themselves primarily through puppets first. I enjoyed that sort of became a running motif as we, were introduced to more characters. Yeah, and I thought that was a lot of fun. It's really well shot, really well put together. I appreciated the sort of the gravitas that the black and white is bringing to the table.
The first thing that kind of stood out to me was the childlike nature of everything. With this man who is, pretending to be a cowboy, but in reality he's someone that just pretends to be one for children's parties, to how this major scene of these two characters connecting was in a playground, and how they were both enjoying each other's company but also just enjoying this environment of being in the playground, I thought was really interesting.
A lot of really interesting visual things that it does to unpack the scenes in the short film. I really enjoyed the music and the opening sequence. I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to feel before the music started, and then the music felt really safe and happy, so I think it does a great way of juxtaposing the different sides of life in one film, and even within the characters. There's a sense of silliness and unease at the same time, but also there's a character arc for sure for the cowboy. So overall, I thought it was really great, and I loved the dialogues that the two characters have and how it unfolds over the course of the film. It kept me intrigued throughout. Really, really great job there.
You see it both from the birthday girl, the cowboy, and the princess, where you see it from the girl, but you hear the stories of the cowboy and the princess. And ironically enough, how both the cowboy and the princess became who they were, literally the cowboy and the princess, because of their parents, in a way to kind of connect with them, even though they never really had that connection with them. Their identities were shaped by their parents, which was very, very interesting, which kind of made the symbolism of him drowning the cowboy as him moving on from that. It was a very insightful piece.